She got the remedy.
Yes.
Go
ahead.
It was me again, and my second question was about supreme balancement.
Yes.
If the green light is supposed to represent the healing force.
I love this question. Go ahead.
And the red light is supposed to represent, as far as the cerebral beings. How is black supreme?
Black is not a color. That's why it's called supreme balance. And God existed in blackness before he created the light. Otherwise he wouldn't have said, let there be light. All right, green is vitality and growth, but by two other elements. What are they? Yellow and blue. Water and the sun gives you the green grass. So there's healing in grass because grass is healthy. Every other animal on the planet, when they're sick, will go eat grass to heal themselves. We stop doing that, we start taking pills. Little white pills to save us. It's true. It's true. It may sound petty, but it's true. So the green light represents healing of the body. The red is the sun in the center of the solar system. The heart of the being is in the blood. You follow? So it can be projected as positive or negative because red reflects passion. And passion can be passionate lust, passionate love, passionate concern, passionate murder. So the sun can either nourish, grow, or kill. It burns up white people and tans us. You follow what I'm trying to say? Go ahead.
But how does the black
the black is not light.
How does it balance out though?
When we use black light, we're talking about the violet color. The black light gives off violet. You follow? And that's the order of Melchizedek's color. That's another whole level. And that in itself is another combine of red and blue to get violet. You understand what I'm saying? Go ahead.
I'm still a little confused.
Okay, you know why you're confused? Because I'm answering your question. You got to ask me the question, not say, why is green green? Because I'm telling you why green is green. You got to ask me the question. Tell me what you're trying to find out.
I'm really trying to find out because I'm really trying.
What's better, black or green?
No, it's not what's better, but how does it balance out? Because when you say black, I'm seeing a color. It's hard for me to comprehend this.
Okay, well let me do this. You wasn't here last week? You wasn't here?
I was here last week.
Was you here the week before?
I think so.
Well, one of them you wasn't paying attention now, because I said if I grabbed every color here and mixed it in a bowl, which would be inclusive of green, I'd come up with black. That's why you've been trained to see black as a color. You've been trained to see black as a color because they've also given you a definition of black, which is swarthy and bad and ugly and evil and Dracula, and you know what I'm saying? That's a psychological profiling that they've done to monotype a stereotype being. By that I mean they made me and you into one kind of character, bad, and call us stereotype. Stereo is two. We are stereo beings, God and man, not mono beings. But they have the whole world thinking all black people are liars, thieves, crooks, etc., etc., etc. All that is shaded around identifying black as a color and not as a state of existence on which colors are born. Because blackness is there. Now, whether stars are shining or not, the blackness is there. Regardless of the colors of the stars, white stars, red stars, green stars, blue stars, depending on their illumination qualities and what reflects off them, the blackness will remain. When you cut the lights on in the room, the blackness remains. When you cut the light off in the room, the energy is still in the room unless you go downstairs and throw the fuse box out. So the energy of the light is in the room, but the black won't allow it to shine until you cut on a certain switch, fuse certain things to bring this thing into existence. But the black remains the same at all times. But all the other colors are in the light. When the light comes on, the chaos stops. Knowledge is chaos. Wisdom is chaos. And understanding is chaos. Because you have to have knowledge of things. You understand that? You gain wisdom by utilizing these things. And it takes an understanding to know how to utilize the things that you've gotten. So the principles of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding as being the reflections of light, illumination, illuminati, are the tools of the devil. Because while they're telling us that God's in light, they're telling us the devil stands in the fire. And fire is light. At the same time, they're tricking us and never telling us that God was in blackness before he cut on the light. So if God was in blackness and the first thing came was sun, the first thing the sun yielded was the devil. Either a constructive or a destructive force, depending on how close you get to him. If you embrace the devil, he'll burn you. If you utilize the devil's power, you'll survive. How? Because you take a tool and you whip the earth, which is evil, and you cut the grass, which is murder, and you plant a seed and you grow food for your sustenance. So anything that you build, you have to destroy something else. If I build a building, I gotta dig up the ground, destroy the earth to form the bricks. To get the mortar, I gotta dig up more earth to create the mortar or the tar, and then take it from the tree or the bark of the tree and come over here and weave the roof. But I ripped down the tree and walked over here to make the house. You see that? I cut down the limb and take the rock to make the spear to kill the animal to feed myself. So every action you do, everything you do that calls for know-how is an attribute of the devil. Because if you was in the bosom of a living God, you wouldn't need to do these animalistic things. But because you decided to come into the physical form as a penalty for your disobedience in heaven, you have now been assigned to do the devil's work before you can get to God. So every act we perform, everything we do is prompted by evil. Try to name something to walk on the earth, unbeknown to me, is to crush thousands of living microscopic insects that done nothing to me. You understand? To wear glasses is to rip the sand from the sea and to cut down the tree, to start the flames, to create the fire, to melt the sand, to form the glass, which becomes the glasses or the drinking glass. And then I gotta go steal the water from the ocean to drink it. Knowledge is a tool of the devil. Light is the devil's playground, not darkness. People who are afraid in the darkness are afraid of themselves. It's the things inside you that you are afraid of, things that you are capable of doing or have done, that come up and frighten you in darkness. Because there's nothing more tranquil than darkness. Otherwise, you would not cut the light off to go to sleep. You would cut it on. And even in your parties, where you set out to wreck creation or have recreation, you dim the lights and then put on colored flashing lights so that you can have a flash of light in the presence of darkness. A flash of light, a presence of darkness. You want a certain amount of privacy in the darkness, but a certain amount of exposure out of fear of the darkness in the light. Every party you go, they do the same thing. Let's get romantic. Cut off the lights and light a candle. You hear what I'm saying? So we reach for the darkness, for tranquility. What they call the devil, the prince of darkness. Because he rules the darkness. Because there the devil will meet the weak. Because there's nothing to fear but the unknown, which is fear itself. But anything that you know, anything you can imagine, images, you understand, will lead to the devil. What can I do in this physical world that does not give praise to the devil? I go in my house, I stop and look. Everything about my house was ripped from nature to make a cupola for me. And then I decked the cupola up with rugs and wool shed off the sheep. Paint, ripped from the flowers. I can go on. The windows of the glass. I just took and destroyed nature. God didn't make no houses. So he must have made us capable of living outside and moving according to the weather changes. So if you stay up in the North Pole and you freeze to death, you belong dead because you have a defect. You move according to the season changes. And you take residence in those different places where you belong. But no, if I sat outside, they call me crazy. Because they want me to comply to their system of constantly going against God. That's what they need. They need me to constantly wrestle against God. If I do anything that's like just pure, I just want to, he's nuts. I just love everybody. You walk down the street of Atlanta tomorrow and say, I just love all of you people. Before long, they'll arrest you for saying a very beautiful thing. But you know what happens? You say, man, I hate that. People just like this. They'll get out your way. They won't call the cops on you. But stand out in the middle of the street and say, I love everybody. You be in a straitjacket. Don't be fooled. Light is not God, light is the devil. And every Freemason gives up the G for the I. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. They get into the real light when they pass the master on their way through the arch. You understand? And they learn to see with the right eye, the third eye, the inner eye, the spiritual eye. They learn to evaluate things with the third eye. They look for the best in a man, because that's the best a man can be. And they take a good man and aspire to make him even a better man. You hear me? That's the ancient way. Lost from us, stolen, replaced with knowledge. I fix cars, I make guns, I make planes, I do this, I make all the destructive things that man uses to kill each other, but I got a good job, I make a good salary, and my family's taken care of. I don't care what it does to the rest of the world, because I'm straight. I'm acting on the part of them. And they fear when you people make up your mind to break away and say, I'm going to work with nature. Before I eat an apple now, I'm going to say, God, thank you for this apple. The purpose of the apple was to be eaten. So if an apple falls from the tree and is never picked up and made a pie or a sauce or an apple, that apple was condemned to hell. Everything in existence has its purpose. And if its purpose is not fulfilled, that's its hell. So when you bite the apple rejoices in completing its journey through God's plan. Do you hear me? When you bite the corn, you don't hear the corn sing the praise of God, but the corn sings the praise of God when you bite it, because now it has reached its destiny. But the corn, it ends up a pipe in an old mouth, sitting on a stoop with a hood on, puffing on tobacco and killing his lungs, is a condemned car. Human beings also have to fulfill a purpose. You don't fulfill that purpose by emulating other human beings. You hear me? Like the apple, you are fulfilling your destiny as an African. Show who you are and be proud of it. Stand up. What's wrong with that? Cut it out. Get on back to your natural self. Get on back home. You're beautiful. You ain't got to look like the white woman for us to love you. You'd be surprised how your beauty comes out when you stop trying to look white. Stop trying to get down in that chair. I see you trying to get down in that chair. Sit up in that chair. This ain't no time for us not to act like the apple or the corn. We will not fulfill who we are as long as we're acting other than ourselves. You hear me? Get back inside yourself and work your way out again. And be proud of what you are. Every time you alter something that God gave you, you are saying God was an incompetent. Now, how do you feel? Some people are mad at me. Yes. But you okay?
What you was talking about earlier about talking about how there's so many devilish things happening in the world and how we constantly end up destroying and stuff like that. How can we be more godly?
Because you got to be in the world, but not of the world. I've been telling you that for years. You got to be able to walk through the hallways of Satan and not be tempted by Satan. You got to be able to develop a sense of self-identity and worth and honor and dignity and purpose that the devil is not your next door neighbor. You're not so readily available for his seductions. Just because they put the reef in front of your face doesn't mean you have to succumb to it. Just because you pass a liquor store doesn't mean you got to get to alcohol. Just because a person curses you out doesn't mean you got to respond with a curse of violence. You got to overcome the power of the devil with good. You got to set up a psychic self-defense against the devil and his powers. You don't fight fire with fire. That's a lie. You fight fire with water. You water it down. You can't overcome the powers of the devil by just making up your mind that's what you plan to do. And as he comes, you know what? You get better and better at recognizing him in as many faces and as many forms. He don't always come as a man. He comes as a habit. He comes as an addiction. He comes as an emotion and a mood and a spirit of moment. He comes as a hobby. He comes as a desire. He comes as lust. He comes as love. He comes as food. He comes as joy. He comes as temptation. And he comes as you, talking to you about what you shouldn't be doing, and you sure well go and do it anyway. But you can overcome the devil. The way to overcome the devil is to become conscious of how he approaches you. His methods, I see him. His methods. His methodology. You begin to read his patterns. So you're the person who walks down the street saying, "Good morning. How are you?" And let people think you're crazy for the first week. But you're introducing a new mood into the world. Don't ever pass a person on the street that's in need and don't stop and give them, because you figured out that they were going to use it to buy alcohol. Who the hell are you? Did you notice the word? Who the devil. Stop and give them something. He goes buy alcohol with it, that's his business. But you did your job. You met him on the road because God wanted you to meet him on the road. And he reached out to you because God wanted him to reach out to you. So go on and give it up. Whatever he does with it is his business. You hear me? Introduce it into the world. Introduce right. Introduce good. You be the one who starts it. Just say good morning to people. Good morning. How you doing? Don't ever walk through a mall and see your own people. Hey, how you feel? Good morning. You see an elder? Help him. Can I help you? No. Okay. A lot of people are touchy because it's a dangerous world out with all these lunatics. But at least you reached out and you initiated a positive thought into the world. You understand? You be the loving person. You be the helping person. And if enough people bumping into themselves, helping other people, then we got a good start towards heaven on earth. Thy kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven. We got a good start. Yes, brother. Yes. Go ahead.
You were mentioning that the enemy, the devil, comes in different forms. As an individual, having those many forms concave on you at one time, how would you advise someone to deal with it? Especially when you figured out a way of minimizing the confusion and asking for assistance and having it reiterated a request.
Okay, the biggest problem we have is that we ask for assistance outside of ourselves when God already said I breathed into you the breath of life, or my breath, and you became a living soul. We're seeking the power of God outside when the power of God is already inside us. You follow that? But we have succumbed and we have bargained with the devil for the things that he offers us that we like so much. The stimulations of life. When we are willing to fight back the stimulations and the temptations of life, we get the power to rule over the devil. And he'll back off. It doesn't mean don't have fun. Have constructive fun. It doesn't mean don't have a good time. Have a clean good time. And not at other people's expense. Don't laugh because that person is fat. And make a joke and get other people to laugh because you're the devil. Don't make joy out of another person's sorrow. This ain't nothing new I'm saying. This is old wisdom. You hear me? So you can overcome the power of the devil if you stop looking for outside forces to solve the problem. They're not coming. They're already there in you. You got the power to do it.
So how would I...
how do you start?
In tune with that, I'll give you an example. I'm visually dysfunctional. I wasn't born this way. I lost my sight 9 years ago. And having that past experience of being visual, I was able to utilize those experiences in, I guess, to deal with the situation I'm dealing with now. It got to a point where, because I became very efficient, people were challenging my situation, saying I was either faking I'm blind, or even attacking me to check out my accuracy, or putting obstacles in front of me. You know, I've done my best, but it's gotten to the point where it's coming from different angles. I utilized, I guess, to my best ability, Nuwapu, but at the same time, I'm alone in this. You know, I've done my best to come down, ask for assistance, limited information. I know that all I need is those words that I can constantly have banging in my ears that I can fall upon that could help trigger certain things. It's you know, the information, the knowledge, or whatever it may be. But you know, I feel still alone.
You are alone because you're in the wrong environment. Because that's what the devil teaches them to do. To capitalize off other people. To make fun of other people. Most comedians, if you watch or listen to them, they get more fun out of making fun of other people. Listen to their sense of humor. They're making fun of this person, emulating that, emulating the homosexual, emulating this person, So most of the comedy that we watch is prompted by the devil. But it's funny to us. You know what that makes us? Servants of the devil. And we start laughing, we catch ourselves saying, there's nothing funny about that person's condition. That's not funny. If God tapped him on his shoulder one day and he woke up like that, it would no longer be funny to him. And someone needs to tell him that. That's not funny. You're putting a thought in the air, thought patterns. You understand what I'm saying, young man? You need to be around people that will make sure that no one puts an obstacle in front of you. You found it. You're here. Yes, sir. Go ahead. I see your hand.
I didn't hear on the other side when you were talking about you said forget Om.
Om, as the ancient mystic order of Melchizedek, was one of the degrees. Our degrees work like this. First, you had the Khalwati order of Sufi. That is your Islamic study of dhikr. Then you'll move on into the order of Melchizedek, which is the Essenes or Magus or Magi order. And that is your Judaic Christian order. And then you move on now to the Egyptian order, and that is Sumerian and Temerayan order, the final order. You had to pass through all of those degrees to become a perfect asher, a carved stone. You follow? 12 cuts. Yes. Go ahead. Huh? Right. They're Anakites. Anakite, not an affiliate. Anakites. You can find Anakites in the Torah. Look it up in the scripture and it'll tell you about 6 fingers and 6 toes. They has it right in the Bible. That's why I asked people years ago. I said, wait, if God created us in His image and after His likeness, which one of us? The one with 5 fingers in the toes, or the one with 6 fingers in the toes? Which is it? Is it male is in His image or is it the female is in His image? I found out later it was women that's in the image of God and they were first, and that came to frighten me. See y'all. See y'all tomorrow.